Joe's oldest daughter. So my grandpa wrote a lot of stories during his time, and there's one that I would like to share with you today. It's titled My Grandchildren, Just Plain Americans. Whenever I am asked how long it takes for a Mexican to become an American, I have to go no further than my own house to provide the answer. There are 4 generations of the Vargas family living in the USA, all American citizens, some by choice, most by birth, but all equally proud. There's Grandma Cuca, an 83-year-old little Mexican lady, my mother, a Republican and a fan of Ronald Reagan. There's me, the 59-year-old father of the clan, still speaking heavily accented English, when in full police uniform, still looks like the former undocumented that he was. If Proposition 187 ever goes through, I'm a walking probable cause. And then there are my 9, sí, nueve, children all native born. Some speak Spanish, some don't. Some eat the traditional tripas, goat heads, and barbecued goat heads with sad eyes, and some don't. But still, they cannot be anything but Mexican-American, or Hispanics, as the Mexicans with visas are called. The strong Huichol Indian blood of my grandfather Salvador still shows through my kids, and they are proud to be what they are. But my 13, yes, 13 grandchildren are another story. You see, none of my boys married a nice Mexican girl from the old country, as I requested, so she could make me homemade tortillas with corn gruel when her father-in-law loses his teeth. Some of my beautiful daughters-in-law have black hair, some have blonde hair. One of them is Asian and one a Cherokee Indian. But they all have one thing in common. None of them speak Spanish. When the whole family gets together, nobody would believe that children with straight blonde or curly black hair with slanted or round eyes can be related. Yes, my grandkids, besides not speaking Spanish, all have another thing in common. They all call me Grandpa Joe, a term that I don't like because it makes me feel like an old gringo, something I would never be, not gringo anyway. Do you know what my grandkids are? They are simply Americans. I doubt they will ever need to belong to any group to accent their ethnic background. It has taken 4 generations for these kids to be classified simply as Americans, something I am happy and sad about. Why sad? Well, because my little Americans will never know they came from strong Indian stock. They'll never know there existed a brave and proud man named Salvador, my grandfather, who never wore shoes or went to school but was the wisest person I know. They will never know about Tio Luis, the legally blind bus driver, my uncle, and a dozen other characters that existed in the Vargas family. They will never smell the wet cornfields in the state of Jalisco, or hear about the relatives that had their ears cut off during a revolution, or about the first American in the family who was able to learn the language and even wear a police uniform after being deported out of this country more than a dozen times. Yes, years into the future, a child will ask his mother how come his name is Vargas, and her only reply will be at one time or another, one of his ancestors, somebody named Grandpa Joe, came from Mexico, and no other details available. When that happens, the earth will shake, people will run outside in their underwear yelling that El Grande earthquake has finally hit. But they will be wrong. It will only be Grandpa Joe stirring in his grave. Well, Grandpa Joe, I stand here today, 18 years later. There are 21 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. We are Americans, plain and simple. We have not and will not ever forget the Vargas family history. Our past is what makes us who we are today. Without you, we wouldn't be standing here as Americans. The dream to live in Los Estados Unidos, which began in my Grandma Cuca, was carried out by you and now lives on through us. We are the product of that dream that started so many years ago. I stand here proud of my family's past, proud of who my grandfather was, inspired by what he accomplished, and driven to continue the dream. Sí se puede. Thank you.